Well, hello there, YouTubers. It is I, the Big D, coming back to you live and in person. If you're new to the channel, subscribe. Love to have you along for the ride. Like the channel, share it to people you don't like. I'm just not that proud. Thumbs up, thumbs down. Want to know your response. Today's topic was one I hadn't really thought about, actually, but early this morning, I got a text message around 4:30 a.m. asking about, is it common in a courier business, if you're as a courier out there running, with a courier company, to sign a contract? Simple answer is yes. That's very standard operating procedure. There's going to be a contract. You're going to have a bunch of papers, I don't have a contract. I don't even have a copy of the contract I signed here technically, but you're going to get a bunch of papers with a bunch of nonsense in it. And they're going to ask you to sign it. And if you don't, they won't put you on. Simple as that. Is that unusual? No, you're a contractor. Contract labor, 1099, thus contract. Same thing in Expediting. You sign a contract there with your carrier. It states the do's and don'ts. You can't run for another company similar to what they do. So you're going to be dedicated with them. In other words, you can't multi-carry. That'll be in there. If they say that you can't, it'll be in there. So I just ate lunch. You're going to see that in there. There's going to be things probably about uniforms and, the insurance you need to carry and, what they're liable for, what you're liable for, blah, 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 blah. Read every page before you sign it. I can't emphasize that enough. I'm going to give you an example why you read every page before you sign it. Which I'm going to give you two. Most of you have bought a vehicle before. You went in there, you sat down and went back and forth with the salesman. He ran up to those managers, called a TO system, by the way. Piece of paper at the 4 squares, you name it, crap at the end, trade and what the vehicle MSRPs and down payment and monthly payment. And they, wrote down a monthly payment for you. Mm-hmm. Well, let's say you're looking at $300 a month. That's all you can afford, $300 a month. And they come out and say, I can get you that $20,000 vehicle there for $300 a month. Yay! You're all excited. The next day, you look at that contract and realize it's for 84 months. What? Right, because when you went in to sign, it was basically payments $300 a month. Sign right there. And you did. You didn't read the contract. You didn't read it up there at 84 months. That's how they do that to you, by the way. And I'm using 300 at 84 and a $20,000 car. That would be higher, so but I'm just using it so it's basic math. The reason it's basic math is 80 times 300 is 24,000. And, 4 more months is 12, so 25 too, which could be your interest. So it really isn't that a bad deal, but you'd be paying more, just so you know. And if you do get in that situation, just multiply the you look at the contract at the top, has interest rate and actual interest rates and number of payments. Pay attention, your payment, and say, well, if it's $300 a month times 84 months, it's $25,000. The car is only listed at $15,000. How do we get to this? Well, the same thing in a courier contract. There's going to be things in there you may want to read. And the biggest one I can warn you about is what's called a non-compete. Now, if you haven't heard of non-compete, I'm going to explain what that is. I think it's Capital Express. A buddy of mine went over there and looked there one time. And he called me up and said, I got this, it says non-compete. What the heck is that? I can read it to me. I knew what it was. I just wanted to see the term they're putting on it. In other words, if he leaves Capital Express, he can't run for another courier company within like 150 miles for 3 years. Or a year and a half. It was a year and a half. A year and a half. 150 miles for a year and a half. They just put you out of business. You signed it. And you go to court. I didn't read that. The judge is going to look at you like, that's not my fault. This is a legally binding contract. Key word, legally binding, by the way. Not all contracts are legally binding. What makes a contract enforceable? Mutual consideration. Mutual consideration, they got your signature on non-compete. You got to work for them. Ta-da! You just got bound. Beats the legal standard. It sucks, but it's true. And I've known more people who put their John Hancock on a non-compete. Do never sign a non-compete unless you want to be out of the business for a year and a half. It's very common for salespeople, like, you know, I'll give you an example. If you're a safety supply salesperson and you're working for a safety supply company, they put a non-compete on you. You can't go to the competitors, quit and go over to your competitor and work for them. And there's a reason for that, too. A lot of salespeople have non-competes, but you're a courier driver, for God's sakes. Okay? The reason they do that is so they don't go over and take their business away from them. In other words, a salesperson goes over to, you know, Z Medical and starts taking off the accounts of, say, Or Safety, and they worked at Or Safety, and, you know, that's not good. Now, you may see something like this. There's a clause in there that you may see that you cannot divulge proprietary information. Now, what's proprietary information? Information about their customers, how busy they are, how many drivers they have, what the pay's like. They can do that too. It's perfectly legal. Perfectly legal to do that. But you need to know that. Read the contract. If you get a contract and you don't understand what it says, call me and read it to me or send me a copy of it. I'll tell you what it means. You know, I'll do it for free. I'm not like these other guys who's going to charge you for everything. I mean, on this channel, numerous people, in fact, the guy this morning, he texted me, I called him. Numerous people have called me, asked me direct questions. That's what they got charged, folks. I probably get 3 to 4 calls a day. Zero charge. I'm not doing this to get rich. I'm doing this to try to keep you from making a big mistake. Once you've dug your hole, you're in it. And I'm trying to keep you from digging that hole. Because if we can keep you from digging that hole, the next guy from digging into that hole, and stop these hole diggings, we can force these guys to raise the prices. Why? Because they're not going to have stupid drivers. You know? It's one thing to not know. It's another to know and make the mistake. It hurts everybody. It hurts me. It hurts everybody out there. All it does is drive the pay down. And you've got to realize we're trying to keep the rates up. Even in Courier, Expediting, they want the rates up there. Here, I want the rates up here. One thing, we make good money. That, you know, you can make a lot of money as a courier, but you have to know what to look out for. So, getting a contract, not going to be any big deal. What's going to be a big deal is what's in it. It may say something like, you're required to wear their shirts and a black pair of pants. Okay, that's fine. You know, a lot of companies, especially medical couriers, have to wear shirts. The reason being, it's a very simple answer. It's for security at the hospitals and doctors' offices. You walk in, you're with XYZ Courier, and it says XYZ Courier, and it's say, you know, tan shirt, and you're in black pants. They get used to drivers in tan shirts and black pants with that little logo on it. They ignore you. They know what you're there for. They're not going to stop and say, oh, what are you doing here? Or who are you with? They just wave at you and you just go on in. No biggie. So that's not a terrible requirement. Okay? Don't be freaked out that they want you to wear a shirt. Okay? Now get freaked out if they want to charge you $20 a week to wear the shirt. Yeah, that ain't gonna work. But if, they tell you got to buy yourself a handful of shirts for $20, start out with one, see if you like it, and you just wash it every day or wash it every other day, whatever. And, after a month or two and you're making money, buy a couple more. Like, hey, I actually made mine from day one when I started this route. So, I invested mine being custom made ran me with the hats $150. Because we don't really have them here. Oh, we do, but I got one. I wear it every now and then. But I like mine better. Personal preference. So if you're being offered a contract, don't freak out. That's normal. Read the contract. Read it before you sign it and see what's in there that may bite you in the ass down the road. Because once you sign it, your ass is bitten then, so there's no way out. Well, you can fight it in court and spend thousands of dollars, which makes no sense. So, in conclusion, if you don't understand what they're saying, call me or email me a copy of it, message it to me, whatever. I'll look it over and tell you what it means. I'll tell you if there's anything in there to be concerned about. I got our shirt, big deal, You got to cover your insurance with full rates at $100,000, $300,000 or whatever it is. No big deal, blah, 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 blah. You got to list them on your insurance, blah, blah, blah. Because they're going to list you on theirs too, so that's why they want your driving record. So they can run you through their insurance. This is all normal. They may ask you for a drug test. Big deal. But being a cop, I didn't have to do it, but you might. Of course, the guy I work with knows I've never drank, did drugs or anything, but he knows me. We've been out together. We've traveled together. The hardest thing I drink, Coca-Cola. The hard stuff. Could say I'm doing a little Coke. But that being said, like the channel, subscribe to the channel, share the channel, thumbs up, thumbs down. But that should pretty well cover contracts. The one thing you got to watch out for is the non-compete clause. That is a landmine. Stay away from it. Let's go make some monies.